Because question is going to be based on general question, what's Enactus about, what are you guys heading. You should know who's going to answer it. So don't look around each other going, who's going to answer it. That just looks very unprofessional, and I don't like that. And Bobby, you said that when you were saying like on our page, I know what you mean. You mean Facebook, right? But you only said Facebook towards the end of your sentence, so I had to make a guess that you mean Facebook, so make that clear. Don't say, which is what I'm doing now, don't say or I guess when you're answering the question. Even if you're going to make errors or mistakes, be confident about it, because how the hell are we supposed to know what you're saying is not true? So if you're confident, we're going to believe you, but otherwise we're just going to think, Audio. Are you guys falling asleep?
Yeah.
Because these guys, right? No, these guys, they're going to be scrutinized by, how many judges do we have at the first round? So imagine standing in front of 16 judges and other side team, or Enactus team, is nerve-wracking. So the least you can do is smile at them and be supportive. Don't fall asleep. Don't sit at the back relaxing on them, because they're just getting tortured at the moment. So you should be supportive, because that's going to help. And who's clicking the PowerPoint? Who's clicking the PowerPoint? Are you guys doing that?
We didn't do for ourselves. Other team members did, but
So what's going to happen at the national? Just one person clicking it, or you guys all doing it separately?
one person practicing.
Yeah, so we haven't practiced that yet. Okay, well, I'll look forward to the next time, because that was pretty bad. And who's done the slides?
Already ourselves.
You guys did yourselves, so there's no one person going through it, making sure it's consistent. Is marketing doing that for you guys? Okay. When you guys go through the top banner bit, right, all the colors, you guys choose very light colors. The writing is white, it's hard to read. Enactus, I can't read it at all. According to you guys, can't read it. So choose different color, like a dark color, so the white stands out, or vice versa, because that's just hard to read. And are we going to have music? Are we going to have music or like videos included in the slides?
Yeah.
We're going to be having the final video, which goes with the whole Seizing Today, Transforming Tomorrow. So the Seizing Today is like addressing the problems, and the video is like the Transforming
So there's
Tomorrow.
going to be background music?
There's going to be background
Oh, good.
music.
I'll look forward to that. And careers, I'm almost done. I'm deleting it as I go. So I don't repeat
Still lots to
myself.
go.
Oh, no. What else? When you guys are not speaking even, you should be smiling and having an eye contact. And I know girls, and I'm sorry for doing this, but with heels, it is so hard to stand 17 minutes. If you don't have the confidence to stand in 17 minutes in heels, then don't wear heels. You can't fiddle around or move around too much. That's what I told you that when they were practicing. So, and I'm really mean with this, but when you stand, right, can you guys all have like a same pose? One's like this, one's like anywhere, and it's confusing. I don't like it. Like, you guys should, yeah.
We didn't practice that.
Yeah, but that's that. Two more things, which is, I don't like the order of standing. Because it's going from here to here. So once I go from there, I don't look at you. And it's just like, we kind of forget. I think that's what we had last week too, before you guys did it. Is that the comment that we made? Like start from the center and go upwards, but don't go one end, because that's just boring. And the other thing is that theme, I don't know how that's linked to any of your presentations. So yeah, that is it.
And I noticed that your projects are all very youth focused. And I think your slogan should be like that. So adding something about youth, seeing today, transforming tomorrow. And that makes your projects fit to your strategy. You might want to even put the project name on the slides, just on the very top, so people can distinguish. Bobby, I think as the first person that speaks, you set the tone for the rest of the presentation. So you need to be more confident, more enthusiastic, more loud compared to the rest of the team. And I think your conclusion as well. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So you even need to be extra confident. And I think as a judge sitting on the table, you always glance at the other speakers. And if, even when you're not speaking, and I glance at you and you don't look confident, it makes the presentation look unconfident as well. So things like posture, body language is really important, and smiling and looking confident is really important. And I think it's from what I hear about the project, it seems like ILP is a strong project, RIC is a very strong project. And when we think about what people remember, just from a psychological point of view, they remember the first thing and the last thing the most. They kind of forget what happens in the middle. So that might be a strategy you might want to think about when you position your strong projects at the front and the end. And I think with your quote for IYC, I didn't have enough time to read it, so that did not give me any impact. You might want to paraphrase it to a short sentence if you want. And you might want to highlight PwC a bit more, because it is really impressive when a student society can partner with a large organisation with PwC and talk about how you want to sustain that relationship. Because one of the criteria is how you're going to make that project successful in the future. And explain what feedback does. A lot of people don't know what feedback does as well. And more detail on the winning team as well, because that's how we actually measure your impact as a project. And with food for thought, I still don't know how it works, and I don't know where you got your money from, and I don't know what the students are doing, and I don't know how the canteen is involved. I don't know the project. So I think as a general comment, and I think it's valid for your presentation as well, you use big words to try to emphasize what you have achieved. I say eliminate those big words. I say tell the story of what it does, what the project details, and then what you've achieved. That to me is what I measure the impact of your project. I discard the big words, right? And for that to happen, I need to understand what the project does and what you've done. And one of the criteria here is achieving quantitative results and qualitative results. I think it's good to use a bit of both, right? Because they're separate criteria. And another criteria is using effective evaluation models. So a good start would be telling you how you measured it and what those results are. So one of the things you mentioned was, how do you talk about qualitative results? Because when you do a survey, it's a word, and then you get a yes or a no, or agree or disagree. I think it's effective if you just go, this is what the survey says. Do you find this program effective? And then 99% of people tick yes. Simple things like that. And put that massively on the slide. And talk about that. ILP, you need to explain what LEAP is. Yeah. And I think one of the things is students, if they join the ILP program, they can get academic credit.
Yes, we PACE, that's PACE.
Yeah, that's PACE.
We just thought, because last time we got feedback that we should cut off, names, so we tried to reduce.
Okay, you don't have to use LEAP.
Yeah.
You can just say Macquarie University academic credit if students join SIDE, and this encourages heaps of people to do it.
Which is long taking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just used the word for this presentation because we thought, you would be aware of LEAP, but we won't be using PACE, LEAP, or
Just say Macquarie University. And emphasize academic credit. So, and talk about how you come to partner with the school. So things like the disadvantaged area, the students that go there from backgrounds, whether single parents or low social income, I like your reference to the ADS. And I think that's a good way for me, to think about how you address the need. And that's really important, because that is one of the criteria, how have you addressed the need? So I don't know how Money Matters addresses a need. I don't know how Food for Thought addresses a need. I half understand what IYC is doing. I don't know what Green Minds is trying to achieve. And I don't know why you wanted to build this thing on campus and what that achieves. Because you're working with students, you're working at campus, they don't seem to connect. So yeah, your project is quite complex, so you need to make it more clear. And if it's not clear, you might think about cutting it out.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You know how you said that IOP should describe more about the students? Like you have said?
You can just do a one line.
One line?
Like,
Because we want to do that, and then we thought because Bobby is doing introduction, we will be repeating ourselves around. So we kind of actually today we cut off a big portion of her speech. So
You already ran out of time.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, because some of the other speeches are different.
That's okay, but it's all
but they're kind of two different
yeah.
things, because you're talking, from your introduction, I thought it was, like I wasn't a big fan. The reason why is, when people think about Australia, they don't think about kids in poverty, right? Unless you tell me a specific example like ILP, then that makes sense. If you just talk about in general, I just think of kids in public schools. School is free. Most kids can go to school up to year 12 if they choose to. So I don't know how that addresses that need.
But before you continue, would you guys like to take a seat? Because you've been spending so long. I can just imagine how painful your face are.
And I think it's just a general comment of not understanding what the project is doing, what it's okay, yes,
Maybe
yes,
standing
yes.
17
Yeah,
years.
that's my feedback.
Before we go to tell you exactly just why this
I'll comment as well. It's first of all, I want to congratulate you really. Given I can see all you say is true, but given that it was the first shot, I thought it was a pretty good shot. You did really well. Everybody presented well. Everybody was well prepared. The slides are quite okay. So all up, congratulations. Well spoken, great projects, great content. So we're now in the business of polishing, okay? How to polish. Let me make a few comments, and they're really constructive comments. They're not negative by no stretch. I'll try to assume a bird's eye perspective, let's put it this way. The first comment would be, and that's not you, that's everybody. Everybody who presents at university or for events as today, the weakness is always exactly the same. The weakness is not the presentation, the weakness would be Q&A. Let me outline. I'm a nice person. I've thrown you two lights to shine, but I feel both were in a way missed. Because the first one was, as an observer, I couldn't really see a common theme. Each and every project is absolutely fantastic, but I was asking you, what is the common denominator? So I kind of put it on the tablet to you. So my first advice would be, think carefully how you use Q&A, because I know that judges will be similar to a senior lecturer. They will be very critical, and they will be wanting to see what you say during Q&A. The real sharpness, I always feel, is during Q&A. So first point, let's be careful about Q&A. The second line I threw at you was direct, indirect effects. I've pretty much put the marketing literature in front of you, which is my second point. Probably you undersold yourself. You've done so much. Each and every project, the Hunger project, the school project, and so forth, are absolutely fantastic. And I'm dead certain if you put 12 or 48 on the screen, in actual fact, it's not true. That is underselling our achievement. So don't be too modest. I think you can quite comfortably mention, the indirect that must have occurred at the dinner table and so forth. So that's the issue of Q&A. We must make sure that we master that very well. Maybe discuss amongst yourselves who's going to do which question. Sometimes, which is understandable, we can, hey, are you going to do it? Ideally, that's not going to happen. Ideally, I ask the question and it's already kind of automatically clear, bang, somebody, whoever is going to do it. So that's done. So unresolved Q&A. One more point would be, I felt your presentation is extremely professional and everybody's dressed in black, which is great, but don't take this the wrong way. But can we make it a tiny bit more fun as well? Like it seems to be quite stiff. You guys are all much younger than I am, and I crack a few more jokes when I present at prestigious schools. So sometimes we can laugh, we can crack the funny, and make it professional, but a tiny bit fun, if that were possible. Time management. I think you ran out of time. That's a no-go. So we must, and that's perfectly okay for the first time, but we must practice a few more times and make sure we start even, on the dot. Few more general thoughts. If I may talk about gender, you got 3 girls and 1 guy. Probably I wouldn't have the guy start the presentation. Because after you've spoken, there's 0 more, diversity. So I would probably start girl, guy, girl, something of that sort. I think you get the point. These things do matter. Now, how about, when I teach, I always tell my students, the most important part is the introduction. And let me talk to you guys what I mean by introduction. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but I've given a few presentations myself. 3 points. In the introduction, the introduction is not so much about the content. The introduction is about the emotion, right? Emotion. In the introduction, you need to click with the audience, right? I believe so. So we need to establish that bond. That means it's not about only smiling and eye contact. It's much more than that. We need to establish that aura. How to do it, I don't know. It's very hard, of course. That would be an issue that I would recommend you polish. Like when you were on stage, you look great. There's no doubt. But can we somehow? I don't know how to do it. This is very personal. But when we step on stage, it's about creating that bond. Think about that. Last but not least, probably the issue of the introduction. So 3 things. What are we going to do, right? So you pretty much started on a micro level, but sometimes we can assume a bit of a macro level. Like, set the scene. I call it set the scene. Prepare the audience. That's yet to come. Here we go, guys. That's what's going to happen, right? I don't mean an introduction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's dead boring. No, but an emotional one. We can talk later. So that one. So what is the overall mission? What is the overall target? What do we want to achieve? And then come the nitty-gritty. Okay, we go out to schools. We ask schools to come here. We want to talk about food. We want to talk about money. All the things that matter. But I believe if early on we can establish, look guys, overall that's where we're shooting. That's what we want to achieve. That's now broken down into smaller projects. And then at the end we must have a conclusion where it all comes together. So that's the last point, long-term perspective. All your projects are fantastic, but especially the school project, I do feel it's been running for a long time. We must celebrate, right? Started off 3 schools, or what was it? 3 schools? Now 9 schools, 14 teams. I get emails from principals, I get emails from schools, so do you. We must put it on the table. But that aside, congratulations.
One last thing, it's probably very unpleasant to hear this feedback. It sounds very harsh, but National is really fun. I imagine that. Was it fun?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And no matter how much you practice and how well you prepared you are, you will change until the very last minute that you go in. So it's all about having fun, and you want to make sure that they know that you're having fun as well, because that's what it's about as well. And you want to start it off, even though it's your first practice, I always say, overload them with feedback, then it's going to get better. And by the time when you're the national, we're probably going to say we got 100% because it's that great. But it's the first time. You guys have it in like 2 months, so plenty of time. Have some fun.
I just want to add that. I think when you wanted to be a speaker, because you wanted to go through a journey where you start and you end, and you know you're better off than when you started. And how do you know that you're actually better off than the start? Is that it's really low. Low because you try really, really hard right now, you're getting feedback with really, really good intentions to help you develop as a person, develop your skills. But it's very hard to hear. And
I hate feedback. I can't take
and
them.
the difference between going from a low point to a high point is taking that feedback, kind of break it down into parts where you understand and learning from that. And that's where you start going to a high point and you'll go better than where you started from. And you'll be really like building a really good bond with the team, with everyone else. And really enjoy it. A lot of long nights, minimal sleep, a lot of feedback. No, but it's good. It's good.
Late night McDonald's one.
And that's why you'll remember it after.
Henry will do the running.
Yeah.
Go Henry.
Just nod, Henry, just nod.
It's good. It's the first time. I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good work.
congratulations.